Yo, what's up, ladies and G's? Much love to those returning, and shout out for those tuning in for the first time. I have a very, very special episode. I'm sitting with one of the most inspirational individuals I've ever came across. She definitely understands the definition of leveling up as she does it every single second. I mean, you may have seen her on television, on the hit show The Doctors, or maybe you read up about her, maybe in Forbes, BuzzFeed, LA Times, but she is definitely a person you want to know and would love to meet. She's a fitness model as well, and she radiates nothing but love and positivity nonstop. And she really wants to help thousands and thousands, if not millions of people across the world achieve greatness. And I have the beautiful and talented Natalie Chill. Hey, Natalie,
Well,
how you doing?
hi, that's quite the intro. I need to carry you around everywhere to intro me. I love it.
I'm good to go.
I
How
love
you
it. I
doing?
love it. I'm doing
Perfect.
great.
Perfect, perfect. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So where are you at right now? I see for those tuning in, I know I see the visual, but they don't get it there
Yeah,
on
I'm
audio.
in I live in San Diego, California, and it's true what they say. We have perfect weather most of the year. It's funny in San Diego, you'll see us in hats and gloves when there's like a 5-degree dip because we have, it's like between 60 and 80 all the time. So 65 and
Yeah.
80 all the time. So we the little minor dip, we think we're freezing, but very fortunate.
Gotcha.
We're here in San Diego.
Perfect, perfect. I know I haven't been out to San Diego yet. I've always get close to like LA area, California, maybe San Francisco, but
Yeah,
never been yet. So I might have to stop out there and see what's
it's
going on.
amazing. It's amazing. I chose to live here.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I don't blame you. It's warm over there. I'm over here in Michigan. It's kind of like a little chilly right now, so I got to deal with it. But again, I do want to thank you again for coming on. It definitely means a lot. And typically, what I like to do for those who are new to the show and for my audience as well, just open up the floor a little bit for my guests. So
Okay.
I know it's Wednesday, right? It's Winning Wednesday, what I like to call it. So let's hop a little bit into your backstory a little bit. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about you and your journey so far and how you came to the industry.
Gosh, where do I start? They say people that appear successful or they have it together, they've had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. I've had many bumps and bruises along the way. I still continue to walk through them. And I believe that things happen for us, not to us. To the point where I've literally tattooed the word surrender on my arm to remind myself when I'm walking through something that it's going to be okay, that I just get to surrender to it. So let's see what brought me to where I am today. I'll take you back a little over a decade. 12 years ago is when I had my daughter. And that was a big pivotal moment in my life because until that point, I felt like I lived a fake life. And let me explain what that means. I was doing everything on the checkbox. Like I got married, I went to college, I had the corporate job, I was now in the nice house with the 2 white labs and the picket fence, and I was having a baby. Like I was doing all the check mark things that would make the parents proud and
Yeah.
what a good member of society does.
All
So
right.
I was doing all the things. And in fact, to the point where I'm not proud of it now, but I really would frown on people that were in debt, or I didn't understand it. I was like, how could someone have debt? Or how could they? I just didn't understand that everyone didn't have a perfect life. Like that's what I knew. Now I'd had things happen to me. I'd lost my dad at age, 22. I'd had things happen to me, but I still was in this fantasy world of like things work out for me and this is just how it's going to be. So what happened to me, this is back in 2008, 2009. And I don't know if you're old enough to remember what was going on then, but the stock market, the housing market, everything had kind of changed financially in our country. And it was really wreaking havoc on a lot of people, including me. And I found myself not only newly going through a divorce. I was getting a divorce. I was a new mom. I was going to be a single mom. I gained a lot of weight, but I also now was losing my house. For the first time in my life, could not make my mortgage payments. I was backwards and upside down. And I knew I couldn't keep my stable corporate job because I was a single mom now. And how was I going to travel full time in that job? So I took a demotion. So I had a lot of things really testing me and challenging my beliefs. And it really threw me off. I didn't know who I was at that. I remember thinking like, I'm looking at this girl that's overweight and depressed and broke, and I don't even know who I am. And I never reached out to talk to anyone about it because I was embarrassed. I thought like, this isn't me. Like, I don't even know how to like ask someone for help or to be this. So I hid and I isolated, which is what a lot of people do in depression. I just kept to myself. And I had this pivotal moment. It was about 3 or 4 months really feeling in my rock bottom and literally just getting up every day because I had a daughter. I had a daughter and I loved her. And I remember every day thinking like, okay, I just got to get through today. I'm going to take care of her. That's it. And I had this moment where I had this realization that this was not who I was meant to be, that this is not how it has to, doesn't stop here. There's more to me than this. And I remember thinking really hard, like, well, who can I be? Like, what do I want? And nothing was coming up for me. I was just like, well, I want to be happy. That's all I could think of. And a lot of people will say that when you say, what do you want? They're like, I want to be happy. I just wanted to be happy. Um, and I knew that wasn't enough to move to action. So I created a vision board. It was the very first thing I did. And on that vision board, I put happiness, happy couples, happy families. I put images of ocean and peace and fit girls and just like anything that made me like, whoa, what would it be like to be there or to feel that? And I would stare at that vision board every day and say, okay, if I'm not living that life now, who would I need to be? What actions would I need to take to be the girl living in that board? And I would ask myself that question every single day, like, what does that fit girl eat? What does she do for workouts? Who does she talk to? What does she listen to? And I would literally stare at that vision board. And I'm staring at one right now as I talk to you because I'm such a believer in vision boards. But I would constantly look at that, like, and ask those questions. And my life started to turn around. And I'm giving you a really short version of a long version, but I'll tell you, I turned to Facebook for accountability. I knew I could control my body and what I was eating and what I was doing. And I posted on Facebook and I had like 100 followers at the time from my high school friends, and
Yeah.
I shared there and I said, okay, guys, I'm fat. I'm out of shape. I'm depressed. And I'm turning this stuff around in my 30s and my late 30s at the time. And I'm posting it here for accountability. And I didn't care what they thought, wasn't worried about people pleasing. I wasn't worried about judgment. I did it for my own accountability. And people loved it because it was vulnerable. It was real. It wasn't fake. It was super authentic. I shared it and it started spreading like wildfire. And literally my business was born from that. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's all I can say from that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Just hearing it from start to finish, even though it was a short span, I was able to picture myself somewhat, in a particular situation that you were in. So I can resonate with that.
Yeah.
And obviously, me being a son, right? I see my mom going through things as well. And I know a lot of women, I have a huge women audience pretty much. So I know they're going to be tuning in. They're going to be like, oh, wow, I can resonate with that. I understand that.
Yeah.
And for you to openly share your story, in that short period of time, I'm pretty sure a lot of people already are tuning in like, this is going to be a great episode. And I feel it personally. So with that, like your state of mind during the time where, if we can jog back just a little bit,
Yeah.
where it was just a little rocky, a little bumpy, and
Yeah.
you had to figure out, how do I get through this? Like,
Yeah.
what was that state of mind that you were in? How did
Gosh.
you necessarily, overcome that?
Such a good question. I'm going to answer that, but I want to share this. I want to share that 2.5 years ago, I had another rock bottom. And I don't need to necessarily go on to that story. We can, but I had
Yeah.
another one. And I'm also going through something right now I'm walking through. And the same thing I'm going to tell you I did then is the same thing I remind myself to do that I did 2.5 years ago and that I do now. And I believe that these things happen for me to remember to walk through that. So what did I do? And this is the advice I would give somebody else too. You have to literally, and I have the word tattooed on my arm. You can see it. They can't see it, but it says surrender. I tattooed it there as a reminder because I tend to forget this word. Surrender to me means we have to let go of stories of the past. We have to let go of beliefs. We have to let go of worry, of anxiety, of all the possible negative things that can happen. And we've got to deal with actual facts of where we are right now, right here today, and take one baby step forward every moment of the time from where you are right now. And that is the best, most simple advice I could give somebody, because wherever you are, whether it's financial, it's physical, it's health, whatever it is that you're walking through, if you take on all the possible things that could go wrong and why it's not going to work or why the past hasn't helped you, if you take all that on, we stay so stuck inside our head that action doesn't happen. And that is jail to me. Like you're stuck in your head without any control. So to me now, what I know to be true is you can't look at all of that. You can't look at all the what ifs, all the possibilities, all the worry, all the what can go wrong, all what brought you right here, because it doesn't matter. What matters is right now, today, the facts, clean slate. What's the step forward that you need to take right now to move you in the right direction?
I love it. That's powerful because basically, what to clear it, and from what I'm getting from you is that you were aware, you were self-aware of what was going on, and not a lot of people are self-aware and conscious of their reality. You know, they see different things, they start to compare themselves to other people, and they fall into this drought, and they start to go down into like a downward spiral. But
Yeah.
for you, you was able to withstand that and realize, hey, my life, this is not the life that I want. This is the life that I want. You started creating the vision board, and you
Yes.
started being transparent with yourself first before you started to share your message with others. So
Yes. And I still
I
do that today, but I want you to know it's not an easy thing. So like as I speak of this, I understand that it's not easy. It's not easy when you're walking through it. It's not easy to hear it. It's not easy to believe it. But I'll tell you that it works. Because what choice do we have? The alternative is to go down that rabbit hole of what goes wrong,
right.
and stay stuck there and be depressed. And unfortunately, so many people are there. And then it's the coping with the drugs or the alcohol or the too much sleep. Like we self-soothe, right? So
Yeah.
what's the alternative? There is that, and I got it. And or you can take those steps forward from where you are today. And it's the same thing I tell myself over and over again. My husband reminds me of it. This is not a daily awakening and awareness that's like become easy. This is a reminder, and literally why I tattooed the word surrender on my arm, for this very
Mm.
reason.
That totally makes sense, and I commend you for all your hard work and effort. Just given the fact that you're so transparent, like I love your energy, especially how you curate things. So
Thank
hopefully for
you.
those tuning in, they're able to pick that up. Absolutely. And just jogging a little bit forward because we're gonna go like back and forth here because my
Yeah.
mind is everywhere when we talk.
Yeah. No
But
problem.
like I know that you written two books, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I know the latest one just came out not too long ago. It's called Age in Reverse.
Yeah.
And this is really interesting to me because I think it plays off both our names when it comes to leveling up, but you do it in a very different way. Like you go in reverse, but yet you still win your race. So I want to dive into that a little bit, just to
Yeah.
shed some light on your book. Let's talk about Age in Reverse and what that means to you and tell us more about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm 48 right now as we're talking. And this is actually an interesting story. So I had the idea 2 years ago to write a book and start a movement about aging in reverse. Now, my idea for it is not what it has turned into. My initial idea was a bad idea. My initial idea, and it's how I've lived, was control everything.
Mm.
Oh, you women don't have to look bad in your age. I'm going to talk to you about what you do to your skin and how you're going to dress and your makeup and how you're going to look good. It was all control. Like, we're going to fix everything. I'm going to have plastic surgeons come talk. I'm going to have dermatologists. Like, we're going to get to
Yeah.
the bottom of like, how do we conquer it all? Okay. That is not what this is about anymore. That's how it
Mm.
started. My idea
Mhm.
started that way
Mhm.
until I realized like you can't control everything. It was another
Mhm.
lesson for me. Like you cannot control everything. It's not possible. And what's so funny, and you've noticed this too, looking at women, and I'll tell you, and I nothing against people that do Botox and fillers and all those things. I've tried it all. I do not currently have any Botox on my face. I don't like the way that it looks. I think it's like freaky looking,
Mhm.
but I've tried it in the past. But I look at women, and women that do all that shit to their face, they look freaky. To me,
Yeah.
it looks freaky.
Yeah, a
It
little
doesn't
bit.
make you look younger. It makes you look like like you're older trying to look younger. To me.
Mhm.
Now, I'm
Mhm.
not saying don't do anything. Like if you find what works for you, amazing. I'm all for plastic surgeons and all the things. But for me, I realized like the more I was trying to control, the worse I was looking, the worse I was feeling.
Mhm.
So I went a different approach, and and I certainly am not someone that just lets it all go, because I don't. I dialed in my nutrition on a whole nother level. I took my workouts to have a whole new meaning, what I do with them. I also learned, I really started digging into what makes a kid a kid. Like, what is
Mhm.
it about them? They're present, they're having fun, there's no awareness of time. I mean, they're like hyper present with the
Mhm.
moment, right?
Yeah.
They're authentic, they're living,
Yeah.
they're truly living. And then I looked at a lot of my friends and women my age, 40s and 50s, and we're not those things. We were not playing, we're not being present, we're not outside of our own heads, we're not being in the moment, we're not living. And I said,
Mhm.
okay, the secret to aging in reverse is not all the stuff that we fix. It's
Mm-hmm.
how do we get that back? How do we become that kid again? So
Yeah.
I started trying that on. I started adding in little weird things like on my birthday, I'm going to do something that scares the heck out of me, like jump out of an airplane or a parrot. Like I started forcing myself to truly live in moments. And
Mm-hmm.
what's amazing is it's taken years off. Like people are like, whoa, what did you do?
Yeah.
And it's like, I have a sense of freedom around it. So aging in reverse to me, it's about bringing back some of that stuff we forgot about as a child. How do we bring
Mm-hmm.
that back and
Okay.
totally bring that into our lives with the nutrition and the fitness and the other things to
Mm-hmm.
start truly aging in reverse so the second half of our life can be the best half of our life.
Love it, love it. To be honest with you, and I've been holding my tongue on this, but you look great. Like you,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Like you do not look your age. To be honest with you, you look amazing, and you're killing it in your space.
Thank you.
And I love the definition of what you represent as far as age in reverse. Because, like you said, there are a lot of moms out there, a lot of women in general that tend to skate and go left and try to make themselves look a little way, put on a little makeup, do too much, but you don't really have to do that, and you're really, allowing them to
Well,
embrace
I
themselves.
see two things that happen with women my age, and I'm definitely generalizing. So I know there's a gray. It's not all black and white, but I'm going to say there's
Yeah,
the two themes that I would see. I would either see the complete hyper control. I'm going to fix everything.
yeah,
Fix everything to the point where you're not having fun. And this was me. Like I'm at the beach looking good, but I'm not going to go in the water because it's going to mess everything up. Like that's a problem. That's not living, right? And I'm like, there
right,
has to be a happy medium. Like what? That's not living because now I'm so
Mhm.
consumed with the way that I look. Like I'm not going to go enjoy my life. So,
Right,
and then there's the other extreme of the woman that was like, grow old gracefully. Why do you care? And they judge everyone else. And that's not a way to live either. Like,
hmm
that's great that you want to be gray and let it all hang out and let
yeah,
yourself go and dance around the beach with your, stuff hanging out. Like, that's great. But now you're judging everybody else. And that's
hmm
negative and not fun either. So I was like, there's a middle ground. So,
right,
so to me now, I want women to look their best. I help with that. I help with fat loss. I help with makeup tips. I'll help with all of it. Like I
right.
believe, and I'm again a fan of plastic surgeons and all the things. I'm
Yeah,
just saying there is a middle ground, and that's not the answer to it all. If you want to do that stuff, amazing. But let's also look at how do we actually live our life. And if your life is so wrapped up in just that, that's going to be a problem. No, I'm going to
gotcha.
share something that I've not shared with anyone yet. You're the first one I'm sharing this with. This is
Wow.
super vulnerable. I actually, right before we got on, I made a little post on Instagram kind of introducing this. But
Mhm.
I feel very fortunate in life. There's two things I've been handed physical that I have. I'm not going to hide behind it. It served me well in my life. My face and my abs. They're two things that I was blessed with. That I had a face that got me into some modeling, and I have abs, and that works in fitness. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm once again for another time in my life being tested where
Yeah.
I recently found out I had a basal cell carcinoma next to my eye that's
Mhm.
been there for about 3 years. Now, how does that go undetected? I was told it was something that it wasn't, and it is, and which means there's a tumor behind it, and I
Yeah.
have to have a pretty aggressive surgery in 2 weeks to remove it. I don't know what's going to happen to my face from that, and I'm having a fusion on my back in a month or in the middle of November,
Mhm.
and they want to cut through my abs through that. And I've been losing sleep over it, thinking, oh my gosh, these are two major surgeries. And I said something to my husband. I'm like, gosh, I'm just not at ease with these, even though everything else in my life I've taken on and said I'll walk through this powerfully. And he said, wow, you're really being tested with your word surrender. And I said, I sure am. He said, your two
Mhm.
cards, your face and your abs, are at risk. And how you walk through that's going to be a model for everybody else. And I hear him
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I get it. And it's not an easy take on but it's true. So I believe that we are handed lessons that we need to learn. And it's teaching me even more in this moment as I teach others.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with that. And thank you so much for sharing that. I know that can be, along the lines of security. Like you just want to keep that
Yeah,
hidden, and for you to be again transparent in your approach allows other women to be transparent with themselves as well. So
true.
I do believe that you're gonna get through the surgery absolutely fine for sure. I'm gonna
Yep. It gives
pray
me a new
blessed for you.
story. I'll have a new
Absolutely,
story.
Hey,
There you
absolutely, and
go.
it builds to the character, everything, and it's very
Yeah.
very presentable. But with that, inside your book of Aging in Reverse, I definitely noticed that you are obviously in the fitness field, right?
Yeah.
That's your primary thing. So a lot of women, again, would love to know, like, what would be some key core tips, or some strategies to help them not only mentally prepare, to get back to either where they want to go or get themselves to where they want to be, but just to be at ease, with themselves
Yeah.
and be comfortable,
Yeah. I love it. Great question. So physically, you're asking like health and physical, like if we want to look at all
Absolutely.
that. Okay. So there's three things, and I call it the transformation triangle. So there's three things that need to happen for transformation with your body and your health, and this is critical. And if you picture a triangle, there's 3 points, right? The top point is your state. Change your state. That I believe is everything, and that this applies to your life in every direction, not just health and fitness. But if you want to have a new outcome and have results, you have to believe it's possible. Number one, first rule. If you are saying to yourself, I'm too old, or it's too late, or I'm injured, or I have this diagnosis, or it's not possible, then it will absolutely not be possible. It doesn't matter what diet, nutrition, workout I give you. If you believe it's not possible, you will not take actions to make it possible. It doesn't work that way. In fact, if someone were to email me and say, I've tried everything, like prove that yours works for me, I'm not going to sell it to them because they've already said, I've tried everything, nothing works. Like they're in that wrong mind frame.
Yeah.
So number one rule is you've got to change your state and believe it's possible. Now, how do you do that? You literally have to trick your brain. Because I get it. Look, my brain has been Googling everything under the sun about basal cell carcinoma on my eye, about my spinal fusion. I'm very clear of everything that can go wrong, and that is not a good thing to be doing. Like I got it,
Yeah.
and I interrupted that with myself. I'm like, nope, no more.
Yeah.
We're focusing on what goes right.
Right.
That's it. Positive. No negative. And so I'm telling the female that's listening, or the man that's listening, if that is you, you literally need to interrupt yourself and say, I'm done looking at Google and Googling 50-year-old woman weight hard to lose. Like, stop it. Stop
Yeah.
it. Because you're just
Yeah.
validating that it doesn't work. So instead, we're going to start looking for examples of people that are doing it. You're going to find success stories, and you're going to bury your life into success stories. And so change your state, know that it's possible. Whoever you are, whatever you're battling, there is somebody that walked through that successfully. So find that example, because you've got that too, and find a community to help support with that. Number one. Number two is the nutrition aspect. Only after state is in place.
Okay.
And I'll give you like kind of three intro rules for changing your nutrition there. Number one, I would say unprocess your diet.
Okay.
Eat natural, real, unprocessed foods that once grew, that serve your body, that heal your body, that help you thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Two, focus on adding in more of the good, which makes less room for the bad. Instead of saying I can't have pizza or cake or whatever, instead say I'm going to add in so much of the good foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, proteins, that there's no room for the bad. I'm going to eat less of the pizza if I have it, because you're eating
Gotcha.
the good. If you eat a big, huge bowl of salad before you have a pizza, you're not going to eat the whole pizza.
No.
Right.
Not at all.
So that's all I'm asking. I'm not saying don't have the pizza. I'm saying let's just load up on so much of the good. There's less room for the bad. And then the third thing is my hard rule of what you should be eliminating. I'm not going to go down the road of all the things I eliminate, because I don't personally do grains or dairy anymore. I'm very low on sugar, but what I will tell people starting out is don't worry about all that. Instead, if you're going to get rid of any food, get rid of the artificial fake foods. So like artificial sweeteners. What a lot of women don't know about artificial sweeteners is not only do they mess with your hormones and keep you bloated, but they also make your body think it's getting calories that they're not. So you're more hungry and you have more cravings. So you have a diet soda with 0 or 1 calorie. Your body still thinks it's getting 100 to 300 calories of sugar. So you are more hungry and craving more because your body's looking for those extra calories to make it up. So drop those.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of a few things. Let me start to implement some of these strategies myself. But I really am appreciative of that, because I'm definitely going to take note. So with that being said, again, I know that you're in the fitness space, you do a lot, and there's so much going on in your life. You're giving tips and tricks on how to become healthy. You're doing photo shoots. Actually, shout out, I do want to, show love to that latest magazine post you did on
Thank
your IG.
you.
I noticed, I was like, wow, it looks amazing. You're on television every now and then, right? So you got so much going on. And I also know that you're a mom, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're basically a mompreneur. And I know, again, you handle so much. And I know, it's a lot of women out there with children, a lot of people in relationships that are married. Like,
Yeah.
how do you find that personal balance, if there is a balance? Because I know it can be either or for some people.
Yeah. It's constantly a choice. If I'm going to tattoo another word, it will be probably choose.
Sure.
I feel like it's constantly a choice to remember that we're here to live and enjoy our life. So I don't feel it as like I'm constantly trying to juggle and balance. I've evolved it where I'm very good at what I say yes to and what I say no to. I've gotten very laser focused on what's my vision, what do I want to live, what do I want to create, and every question I'm asked, every opportunity I'm presented, it's a series of those questions that go through my mind. And if there's any hesitation, it's just an automatic no. And that allows me to really enjoy my life and feel that it all goes together. My daughter is and my husband are my number one priorities. And they're both very supportive of my business. And my business, I'm very clear on my vision and what I'm doing there. So it's not like an either or choice, if that makes sense. So let's say
Gotcha.
someone asked me to come speak, and it's a weekend that my daughter and I have, you know, that I have my time with my daughter. It's what I would be looking at, for example, is one, does the speaking role fit my vision? Like, does this opportunity, is it feeding my ego or does it fit my vision? Ego is like someone wants you to speak, there's a big crowd, it's covered, whatever.
Yeah.
Vision is this is going to help her audience is my audience. This is going to serve both of us. It's
Right.
a greater, like, clear that it's my vision. And then it's like, okay, now I'm looking at it's time with my daughter. So it's then I'm bringing my daughter with me, or I'm going to fly in and out and do it around this time. So everything's a constant negotiation to make sure I'm saying yes to the right things.
Got you. Got you. I love that. So basically, you understand the realm of balancing out your personal energy, and when you
Yeah.
dedicate that. So I like how you go about it because I think energy is also a currency, and whatever you pay attention to is what you experience and what you purchase.
So true.
So you start to cultivate what you seek. So I definitely love the mentality in which you're into. And
Thank
I
you.
see it like you just like people can't see it on the audio, but just looking at you, you got like this aura around you. It's just very
Oh, I love
positive.
it. Thank you.
Got this very positive aura. Now, I do want to dive into a little bit again back into the backstory a little bit. I'm hitting
Okay.
on the transparency portion.
Yeah.
I know it's very, very vital, and you were able to cultivate a huge following upon it. Like, what was the initial thought of it? Were you fearful? Were you scared at first? Like, how did you get over that hump when you started sharing your personal stories? Like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that
Okay,
transition like?
so I still battle this because okay, so here's what I want people to know. Vulnerability and authenticity is like the buzzwords right now in marketing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everyone's like, share, be authentic, be vulnerable. And it's almost annoying scrolling. Like you see everyone's like story now. You're like,
Right,
oh, okay, they're doing a marketing thing.
right.
There's a difference between doing it for marketing and doing it because you really are sharing a lesson that you've learned. And I want to encourage people that the thing that you are scared to death to share is the thing that you should be sharing. That's how I'm going to say that. If it's scaring you, that's your true, authentic, vulnerable share. The thing that you are scared to say, like what I shared with you about my face, the thing that I would have never wanted to say before is what you need to say. If you're just if you're struggling with how do I write a vulnerable message, then you're missing it. That's not it.
Gotcha.
Like, don't start your posts with a warning vulnerable post. Like that
Right.
doesn't,
Right.
that's not vulnerable. So
Yeah.
to me, I share what I'm walking through. I share what I'm struggling with. I share what I'm learning, and I'm very careful to do it from a place of power too. Because no one wants to hear the victim journey. They
Yeah.
don't need to hear the hero's journey, but they don't want to hear the victim. So you can tell them what you're walking through, what you're scared about, what you're learning, what you're going through, and you want to also share what you're doing about it,
Hmm.
how you're
Absolutely.
learning from it, why this is valuable for somebody else. So I'm going to ask if I'm coaching somebody, and I do coach people on like how to get their message out and their story. My husband and I, that's a big thing, that big part of our business that people don't see us doing on social media, that we help
Hmm.
people craft their stories. Um, that's the very first thing that we dig into. What is that? Who are you and why are you that person? And what are the things you've been scared to share, become, step into, all those things. And we help
Got you.
people step
Got
into
you.
crafting that.
I love it. I love it because I always notice like on your IG, it's always a ton load of comments, a lot of engagement going on. Women actually sharing testimonials, and a lot of people don't know, but it takes a lot to cultivate a culture. And you was able to do that, and I really admire
Thank you.
again transparency and just the upfront, bold statements as, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what you can do, and you don't necessarily baby or cater, which is also what I respect because a lot of people just want to be lovey-dovey all the time, but you
Yeah.
provide a sense of um, reassurance that listen, you can go from here to here, but you have to take action. It's like you said, it's all about choices.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting that you just said that you noticed that. So here's what I want to say too. You know what? If you're somebody listening and you're really into like people pleasing or worried about people not liking you or judgment or like I didn't get enough comments or likes or which is easy to fall into social media, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're also missing it because here's the thing. When I share my truth, it doesn't matter to me if someone doesn't like it, agree with it, or want it because it's truly my truth. When
Right.
I'm triggered, it's because it's not my truth, if that makes sense. So, like,
Yeah.
okay, so just take, for example, let's just say I put a totally photoshopped picture up on social media. Okay, I'm
Right.
not doing this, but let's say I did that. And then people are like, that's fake, that's photoshopped. I'd be triggered as heck because it probably is photoshopped and messed up. However, if I put a video up now or an image, the magazine cover, and someone says, those are fake abs, it doesn't even trigger me because they really actually are my abs. Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing with a vulnerable share. If I share something I'm walking through and someone's judgmental of it, it doesn't phase you the way you think it would because it's your truth. We tend to get triggered by things that we're hiding.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really, really critical. I want people to really think about that. When you're triggered, it's because of something you are hiding. For
Mm-hmm.
years, I would get triggered by someone telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about. Like especially when I used to really share on nutrition and fitness, someone would have an opinion. You don't know what you're talking about, and I would get super defensive. And I had to do the work to figure out why. Why was because as a student in school when I was young, I had teachers constantly telling me I'm not paying attention. You're not paying attention. Pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So that was reinforcing this message, like maybe I'm dumb, maybe I'm this. So until I like really worked through that and was able to share about that, it
Yeah.
would trigger me. Now I'm not triggered by it because I speak my truth.
Right, right. And again, it's so important that a lot of people understand that. Like, you shouldn't necessarily be seeking validation from someone else because that's the fastest way you're going to come up short, no matter what you're trying to accomplish. So I love the strategy and the mentality of understanding, hey, what triggers me and what doesn't, because
Yeah.
that's what really plays a role in success. And I know, just like because we have similar shows, right? We interview multimillionaires, interview fitness people, you interview real estate. Like, it's all
Yeah.
kind of the same, right? It's all a
Yep.
little bit the same. They say similar things like, hey, it's all about choices, about this, about that. And you'd be like, okay, I get it. And then you pay attention. If they're all saying it, then it holds some weight, right? It holds value. So it's just really paying attention to little things like that and
Yeah.
understanding the importance of it.
It's so funny that you just said that because yes, I actually did an episode on my podcast, a theme of like what everyone I've interviewed has said. It's the same exact things, and it's the same formula. It is
Yeah,
the same formula, and we all hear it, but do we actually apply it? It's like
right.
literally the same steps. They all mentioned that they decided and they chose and they declared it and they created a vision and
Yeah,
then they took massive action on those steps. And then it's like the same thing.
right.
Who's on my bus? Like they only included people in their life that were positive and supportive. All the things. We know what to do, but why aren't we doing it?
Exactly. And that's the question. Why aren't you taking action? And I think it kind of, and we can go on, and I think this podcast might be long, but I know it deals with, personally, it might be insecurities, it might be fear, it may be doubt, the outside noise. There's so much going on in today's world where we just tend to overthink and sit,
Yeah.
but, and we take action mentally, but we don't take action physically, you
So
know?
it's funny, like people are wired different ways, but I'm a ready fire, 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 and then maybe I'll aim. So I'd rather like fire at everything and then make a
Yeah.
mess and then I suddenly aim. My husband is the absolute opposite. He's like a ready aim, aim. Okay, I'm still aiming. I'm gonna research about my aim. I'm gonna think about my aim. I'm gonna aim, 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 and I never fire. So they're different, and they've come from the same past wounds, but just different, manifested different
Right.
ways. So it's interesting, like he's watching him work through that, which I never understood before. I used to think, why can't people just take action? And he would understand, he would ask, how can people just take action without thinking about it? So it was like these two different. So it's funny because that's actually what my husband coaches people on now is because he spent so much time learning how to overcome that. He helps people break through and take action.
And that's very important. Like
Yeah.
again, I just hope people understand it and get it.
Yeah.
Just to provide that message. So I consider you similar. Again, I feel like you're my twin. You're just on the opposite end, right? You're just in San Diego. I'm just in Michigan, but
uh,
it's just the importance. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term light worker at all. But light worker, I started reading up on it. I started getting into it because I would see signs. I would see like the number 111 all the time. I would see certain days, like it would just be weird to me.
yeah.
But I had to understand it's not weird. It's just, acceptance of aligning within your purpose. And it came down to being within your divine order and providing that light to other
Right.
people,
Thank you.
being
Thank you.
accessible. So again, I definitely salute you on that. And
Thank you.
I don't want to hold you long because I know obviously you got a lot of stuff to do. You got a lot going on. I do want to end it with one last question though,
Yeah.
and it really just comes around. I think it's the ultimate question. A lot of people kind of get tripped up on, but you know, what is the main reason why you grind and you do what you do?
Gosh, I don't even know. I don't. I really. I'm sort of like I'm baffled by it. I always tell people to find your driving core motivator and your reason why, and I'll say I do that for goals. But why I keep grinding, I don't know. And sometimes I will be honest. And now I am somebody who I've had my brain scanned. I am absolutely an ADHD, and I look at it as a gift in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ways. But I'm not going to lie. There's some days where I want to turn my brain off. It's like it doesn't stop. In fact, if there's a day that I don't have a million ideas and feeling called to a million thoughts, and I almost get like think there's something wrong. So like when there is the peaceful days, I'm learning now to embrace them. But for a long time, I used to think, what's wrong with me? Where did my creativity go? Why am I being lazy today? So
Yeah.
it was a story I had. So I don't know. I think there's honestly something chemically going on in my brain. Actually, I
Yeah.
know there is that wires me that way because I just can't turn it off sometimes.
Mm.
So I work at turning it off, like adding things into my day that force it. Having prompts around my house and rules like about not looking at my cell phone at night and really blocking out white light at night and making sure I'm reading or winding down. I'm a big fan of CBD oil,
Mm.
magnesium. Like I work to like turn my mind off sometimes. So why I grind, I think I was born with that. I just
I
do.
love that. I love that
Yeah.
answer. Absolutely. It's in the DNA, huh?
Yeah, it's not slowing. I'm
Gotcha.
48 and I don't see a sign of it slowing down.
I love it. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to end it on that note. I
Okay.
love the way you put that. That was lovely.
Thank you.
And I definitely appreciate it. And again, where can people find you? Where can people reach out to
Yeah.
you? How can they contact you? They got any questions, health,
Thank
fitness?
you.
What's
Yeah.
the, I like,
So social media is Natalie Jill Fit.
mhm.
My website is nataliejill.com. And then if you are a female and this messaging speaks to you, then I would invite you to my Aging in Reverse community. And that's at aginginreverse.me.
Gotcha. Well, ladies and gentlemen, definitely reach out to Natalie. As you can tell, she's very vibrant. She's lovely. She is beautiful as well. I know you guys are going to be tuning into this video
Thank
on
you.
YouTube. Make sure you hit her up. Make sure you contact her. And again, thank you so much, Natalie, for coming on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So until next time, guys, much love, peace, and blessings.